Okay, Richard, how is everybody in the camp this week?
Yeah, pretty good. I think despite a couple of losses, I think the spirit remains pretty good. I think we can take plenty of positives out of the games that we've just played. Certainly from an attacking point of view, I think we've looked like we've found a style what really suits us, and we're finding different options within that style as well. Players are getting really comfortable with it. The problem for us has probably been defensively we need to aim up a little bit more. I certainly think from the game at the weekend, I felt there were periods in the game when we looked a little bit flat and tired, and 6 days is probably adequate to back up post leads, but I still felt maybe emotionally the players weren't where they needed to be after the huge effort that they put in at Headingley.
Back-to-back defeats, as you say, how important is it that the players know that there are those positives in those defeats?
Oh, they know. They know. We're pointing out to the players on review, and what's probably more important is they know the areas that we've got to fix up and be a little bit better. And I thought it was a fine line for us at the weekend. Fine line for us in both games actually. I thought we started really flat at the weekend, but then I thought once we clicked into gear and found our way, we were the dominant side for long periods of the game. And I just thought in the second half, we didn't kick the ball at all well, and the turnarounds off our kicks hurt us really badly and hurt us energy-wise. And some of the boys did say, in review that they felt a little bit, just a little bit flat. Again, perhaps down to their efforts on Monday night, or perhaps down to the fact that we expended too much energy on the back of not kicking the ball well enough.
How tough a test will Catalan be then this weekend?
Yeah, ridiculously tough. I think the travel involved for us this week is not a great one, and we're playing a team that is very, very powerful. We can take confidence from the fact that we beat them when we played them at home. We got our game plan, or they executed a game plan spot on that day, and we know the threats that they possess. They play a little bit of a different style to everyone else, but they have got some weapons. They've got some really powerful weapons in the team, from the two big front rowers, Casti and Rapini Paya, that carry the ball extremely well. Very, very smart halfbacks, class halfbacks, and some real big strike on the fringes. So I think they're an outstanding team, and certainly hot on the home patch. We know we're going to have to perform well.
You mentioned the travel there as well. How meticulous is the planning going into the game?
Well, the travel for us this week's not been great. We've had a flight exchange, and we're travelling to Barcelona the day before, so we've got a fairly sizable travel. But what we've done, we've just slightly altered our preparation. We would normally train when we get out there, but we're going to have as travellers as day off, and we've got all our things done this week in Bellevue, so we'll get plenty of rest time while we're there before the 4 o'clock kick-off.
It's the first of 4 really tough games for you, isn't it? Do you look ahead too far ahead or not?
No. I know we've got Wigan next game after that, but I'm not too sure who we've got the week after. So yeah, I knew they were coming up. I wasn't quite sure in which order. No, we're 1 week at a time, and we're not looking too far beyond that. We've got 1 or 2 changes to our team this week, and that in itself tells you that you can't look too far forward. I think we've looked at the last 2 weeks and disappointed not to get a win out of one of the 2 games. I think what we've set ourselves a target is we have got 4 really difficult games coming up. Is to take a couple against the Head.
And injury-wise, how are you looking?
We've got some changes this week. Steve Sutton came off with an ankle injury, and he'll be out 3 to 4 weeks. Unfortunately, Dean Collis has got a fracture in his collarbone, and he'll be out around 3 weeks, which is a shame for Dean as well, because I think the early indications were he'd been selected in the exile squad, but he'll have to miss out on that. And Frankie Mariano's got an adductor strain, so he'll miss as well. So we have got some changes in there, and we'll have a look at us 19 and decide what's best. One thing we do know is it's probably going to be. It's going to be very warm weather. The kick-off's a little bit earlier. I think the forecast, the weather has been good, and the forecast has been suggested that it's going to be warm weather as well. So we'll have a little look at their squad when it comes out before we decide to name our team.
Things like the weather and the heat, can you prepare for that at all? Looking at that
we've trained in a monsoon today, so it's probably not ideal preparation. And to be fair, that's why we like a session when we get out there. You know, we like to get off the plane and test the conditions out. And you know, Catalans are very good in that they allow you to do your team run on their pitch, but we're not going to have that luxury this year. But having said that, you know, we went to Catalan in our pre-season, so the surroundings are very familiar for us, and you know, it's certainly not the first time most of our boys will have played out there. With the Sykes deal at the time, we were happy to make it a permanent deal.
Yeah. You
know, but there were a lot of toing and froing. You know, it's probably fair to say, Gareth, probably not talking out of turn. Paul were on a sizable contract at Bradford, and you know, we got him for a little bit less, and you know, clubs come to compromise arrangements around wages when one player's not fitting in at a club and another player wants him. How that directly affects his position here, I'm probably not too sure at the moment. I know we are having dialogue because, you know, we think Paul's done really well for us. He's settled in, he's found a new lease of life. It's probably no coincidence that he's helped with our form. You know, some of the things that he brings to the table for us have really helped our team. And you know, we're looking to hopefully make the deal permanent. I guess if Paul is a Bradford Bulls player, he's maybe subject, like everyone else, in the hands of the administrator at this moment. So, you know, I guess he could be, like everyone else, subject to bids, and his contractual situation is probably up in the air.
But in terms of keeping his mind on the job in hand, when he's, you know, at the moment, what is his parent club could go on?
Well, I think it's probably more incentive for him to play well, if I'm honest. I think, you know, if he's looking at it like that, the better he plays in this period, then the more secure future, you know, he possibly might have. But as for, you know, as for his contract and the money, so I've not delved too much into it, so I'm not sure legally how they stand. But I will ask him now you've asked me.
So you expect a lot of interest in Bradford?
Yeah, I do. I do. You know, vultures circling, or just people. You know, it's a tough market. Rugby league at the moment, to recruit and retain players is a tough market, and wages for marquee players or good players coming off contract, as you know, I'm sure there's a lot of paper talk, and whether the figures are all right or, you know, speculated on. It is a tough market, and it's a very inflated market at the moment. So I think the fact that, you know, if you're a Bradford player and there's some uncertainty about collecting your wage, and the fact they are in the they're in the hands of the administrator, which, you know, if I'm led to believe, leaves the players or the administrator open to offers for transfer fees for the club, and he's duty bound to do what's best, you know, for them at that time. So Wakefield went through it last year. You know, I were at Hull and we signed Sam Hobbs for a very, very nominal fee. So yeah, it's a tough spot. It's a tough spot for Bradford to be in, and I'm sure the players, you know, probably quite rightly so, are wanting to look after themselves and the families. I don't think anybody could knock them for that. So yeah, that you know, has the potential to leave Bradford in a tough spot, and you know, maybe some of their players will be subject to bids from other clubs. You know, we've had a look. You know, I'm not going to deny that. You know, we've made an inquiry or inquiries on 2 or 3 of their players to see what the status is and what it would cost to get them.
But should Bradford pull through, Wakefield are an example of how to do it, really. I mean, the club's probably still finding its feet a little bit, but it is definitely on that upward curve again.
I would say it's pointing in the right direction. You know, it depends how you measure it, Gary. Do you measure it by points on the league table?
Yeah.
Or, you know, I would say that we have made strides on the field and off the field, despite having 6 wins on the board.
Yeah.
I think our performances have shown that, you know, we have the potential to move forward as a team, and certainly under the guidance of Andrew, there's a very, very positive vibe about the place, which has been reflected in crowds and reflected in sponsorship. We've got the news about the ground, so things are very positive. So, you know, for Bradford, you know, in adversity, there's always opportunity, and while they're undoubtedly going to have some pain and some real pain over the short term, you know, perhaps it is opportunity to get the club back on the right tracks, if, you know, for the longer term benefit and stability of it. It's going to affect the season and may well affect the coming seasons. But if it gives the club a chance to survive, get under no stewardship, and hopefully get some investment, and then, you know, let's hope that's the case.
What are the goals on the field, Richard? Are you still at the moment trying to chase down the 8, or do you just focus week to week and forget about the big picture?
We're focusing week to week. We're focusing week to week, and we've got some. You know, we've actually commented on this morning. You know, we feel we've found a style. We feel we've found a style of play that suits the players we've got, and it's one that they've really got used to, and we're finding different little add-ons in that play. And you know, we know we've got to shore our defence up, and you know, perhaps that will come a little bit longer term with personnel. But you know, we do feel that for us, we're a very spirited team. You know, we feel one thing that we have got. I'm not saying we've got it over other teams, but one thing we have got, and we know we have got a hell of a lot of spirit. And you know, we've never been dampened by the fact we've lost a couple of games, and we've gone out next week feeling under pressure. Far from it, you know, far from it. They've always shown a really positive attitude to training, and a really positive attitude and response to defeats. And I think that's a testament to some of the people we've got in there. You know, Ali Lawatitis, your Richie Mathers, your Tim Smiths, those type of people have really helped lead the team and stood up and tried to take responsibility when it hasn't been travelling well. We feel we've actually played it all right in a number of defeats this year. Plain and simple, sometimes we've been beat by better teams. So from where we are, you know, if we can chalk up, you know, some more wins towards the end of the year, you know, some more, if we can pick up enough wins, what we feel is right over here, we'll look back and think, you know, we've made some strides this year. We've got to do that, you know, and I'm sure when everybody plays Wakefield on the calendar, they look at it as a must win to a point. You know, Gary had us down to finish last in his paper goal.
I told you, stick it up on dressing room.
No, we don't do that. But chasing the 8 down, I think, you know, I've said this in this room plenty of times. I just don't think the 8 will change from last year, and I think apart from the odd position, it will be those same teams, and it will be those same teams because those 8 teams have got better squads than everybody else. You know, they're spending the cap, and they're plain and simply got better, more established squads. I think we want to be in a position longer term. If we can challenge for the 8, that's great this year. Yeah. If we can put ourselves in a position where we've challenged for the 8, I think we've genuinely overachieved. But for now, it's not something we're talking about. We're looking week to week and looking at getting a performance and a win out. And within that, you know, some of our younger players are getting some valuable experience. You know, Lucas Walshaw and Kyle Trout have played more and more over the last few weeks, and you know, they're learning what it's about, you know, to play teams like Hull and play teams like Leeds and get the performances that need to get you to win, and that for us is fantastic.